Welcome to Barts Cancer Institute and Queen Mary University of London. I'm Professor Bijendra Patel, Course Director for the Master's Course in Laparoscopic Surgery and Surgical Skills. In this short video, I want to talk about the course and training by surgical simulation. Before I begin, just a little bit of background about myself. I'm a consultant upper GI and laparoscopic surgeon at Barts and Royal London Hospital and University College London Hospital. I'm also co-director of the master's program with the University of Malta. I'm an academic surgeon. My main clinical interest is upper GI and laparoscopic surgery. And the research interest includes surgical simulation as a tool for acquisition and retention of surgical skills and developing technology-enhanced learning curriculum for medical education. I'm passionate about globalization of education and have shared expertise as invited speakers and international chair and faculty at surgical and technology conferences globally. This is the Royal London Hospital, the new building. It's almost 8 years old now. And on the right is the Barts Hospital. These are the two NHS hospitals where I'm working. And this is the campus in Charterhouse Square, Barbican. And this is the University of Malta campus. So first thing first, I'm a surgeon. And in UK, as you know, surgeons are Mr. and not Doctor. And I take it you want to be a surgeon too. So let me give you a short background on why we are Mr. and not Doctor. In mid-19th century, surgeons worked as apprentices and did not have to go to university to gain a degree. Subsequently, Surgeons Company was formed that conducted exam and awarded a diploma. Now, this was not a degree, it was a diploma, and hence you could not be called a doctor, and stayed instead with the title Mr. So this has historically carried on since the Surgeons Company era. After 1800, the Royal Colleges of Surgeons were formed and they awarded fellowship and membership. So there is no degree as such, and hence we are called Mr. The surgical education and training has not changed in the last 120 years. The Halstead method of training, which is an apprentice model, you see one, do one, and teach one, is no longer applicable and be used in the modern surgical era. If you look at some of the global surgical issues, a WHO report, a universal truth, there's a gross shortage of healthcare workers globally to the tune of 7.2 million in 2013, rising to nearly 13 million by 2035. Lancet Commission published Global Surgical Report for 2030, and it states that at present there are 5 billion people with no access to safe and affordable surgery. We need additional 2.2 million surgeons to fulfill the global surgical workforce requirement. We need additional 143 million surgical procedures to be carried out to meet the population demand. We are in the fourth industrial revolution, which means technology. We have artificial intelligence, robotics, genomics, nanotechnology, virtual reality, augmented reality, so on and so forth. So why don't we take advantage of this and integrate this into our education? Make surgical education more immersive. We know what we want to teach, and we also know how we want to teach. We want to move away from the old apprentice model. We look at the domains of learning. There are 3 main domains as described by Bloom in 1956. Cognitive skill, which is sort of mental skill of the knowledge that you can acquire from textbook, discussion, lectures, etc. Affective, which is the emotional intelligence. I won't delve into that. Psychomotor skills, which is the manual of the physical skills applicable to surgical practice. Now, psychomotor skill, the motor skill, development of these skills require practice, and it is measured in terms of speed, precision, distance, and procedures or techniques and execution. If you come down to laparoscopic surgery and the laparoscopic surgical learning curve, in 20th century, most surgeons were not exposed to minimal invasive surgery. And in the 21st century, most of us are exposed to minimal invasive surgery, mostly in the form of 2-day or a 3-day short course. Proficiency cannot be achieved from a short laparoscopic surgical training course or attending a single module. Sequence education is superior to mass one-time teaching, which means repetition and practice. To get over your laparoscopic learning curve, you need proficiency in operative technique that requires practice, repetition, and time. So how do we speed up surgical education? Acquiring surgical skills, using immersive technology, using simulation. But before we come to that, why should skills be acquired by simulation? Why not just straight away acquire skills on patients? Obviously, that is unethical. And if you look at the Department of Health, which published a report back in 2006 on licensing and revalidation of doctor, the report is called Good Doctor and Safer Patient. They looked at high-risk industries, surgeons, airline pilots, nuclear power unit engineer, offshore oil rig installation manager, in all the professions except surgery. There was simulation-based training and revalidation. And since then, there has been a lot of emphasis globally on introducing simulation-based training in medical and surgical curriculum. And we know the simulation and surgical training translates into skills acquired on simulator into a shorter learning curve in operating theater. There's plenty of evidence in the literature. There are obvious advantages of training by simulation. You get unbiased assessment and feedback. You can repeat, you can task. You can scale the task to the individual's ability. Students can practice and acquire skills at their own pace in their own time. You build confidence without the fear of causing harm to the patient and not embarrassed by early technical failures. If you look at the path length in terms of assessment and feedback, it's a bit like driving a car. When you're driving a car for the first time, you don't necessarily go in a straight line. Similarly, when you navigate a surgical instrument in space, as a novice, your path length is crooked, but it gets smooth and more efficient as you become an expert. With technology, we can trace the path length, we can measure the path length, and we can get objective data for feedback and assessment. Here's an example of laparoscopic cholecystectomy. You can show the path length of the surgical instruments as measured when you perform the first laparoscopic cholecystectomy and then training, followed by second laparoscopic cholecystectomy for assessment. And you can see the significant improvement amongst 10 trainees in this slide. The time to finish the cholecystectomy, again, there's a significant improvement in time to completion of the task with training. So with that background in mind, let's talk a bit about the master's course in Queen Mary University. We have 3 programs. One is a full-time campus-based MSc, which is open for undergraduates and postgraduates. For undergraduate, it's an intercalated master's degree. There's a joint MSc degree program offered with University of Malta, which is over 2 years. It's blended learning. Similarly, we have a London-based global MSc program, which is again 2 years, and it's open to postgraduate students only, with minimum qualification as MBBS. Now, with that, we have created a hybrid learning environment for this course. There's an online platform which is called QM+. We have virtual meetings through Zoom or Microsoft Teams. There's hands-on simulation training using Box Trainer. There's some amount of teaching using virtual reality and digital surgery, which is technology-enhanced education. This is a clinical course. However, clinical in terms of acquiring clinical surgical skills. There is no direct involvement in any patient management or operation or patient care. It's a taught program. The main aim of this course is to integrate simulation during the research period of the training. It's to accelerate the surgical training and improve surgical skills that are essential for building confidence in clinical practice and research. It includes acquiring open and laparoscopic surgical skills and understanding of research method. Once again, I repeat, there's no direct involvement of patient or operating in operating theater or patient care. Through this course, I want you to build your cognitive confidence before you enter the operating theater. This is a primary aim. There's plenty of evidence in the literature that technology-enhanced education, such as one using touch surgery, the randomized controlled trial that shows that skills transfer better and faster in operating theater. The main learning outcome of this MSc course is competency-based laparoscopic surgical skills. That includes basic and advanced laparoscopic surgical skills, laparoscopic suturing, laparoscopic procedure skills, which is cholecystectomy. That also includes non-technical skills in decision-making and cholecystectomy operation. Open surgical skills for bowel suturing and anastomosis. This includes basic surgical skills and microsurgical skills as well. Understanding basic research methodology, undertaking a research project, and dissertation writing. So these are the main learning objectives. I mentioned that we have a competency-based laparoscopic surgical skills training curriculum. Now this is aligned with the two available curriculum in the world. The one in UK is called Laparoscopy Passport, and one in USA it's called Fundamentals of Laparoscopic Surgery. Now, both the curriculum include same practical training exercises, or they are very similar in nature with different metrics to measure competency. This is part of your MSc training. And even though this is optional, I would encourage each and every one of you to take this formal assessment by ALS, GBI, or FLS in your own time. This is not part of our learning objective, is to take lectures of topics in general surgery, not to prepare you for a MRCS or an FRCS exam or PLAB-based exams, so management of surgical condition, or lectures in basic science, etc. So these are not the learning objectives of this course. The learning objective is to acquire surgical skills by simulation and carry out research. The research project or the thesis that you will be asked to submit at the end of the course consists of about 10 to 12,000 words of original research, which is usually a systematic review or a surgical skills lab-based project or a qualitative research project. A good project is usually presentable and a publishable work from this MSc course. Let's talk about how we are going to learn. You take your course on campus or online anytime, anyway. So you have the option of both. It's blended learning. It includes on-demand video lectures, quizzes, hands-on practice using simulation, and more. So let me take you a bit through all those elements. However, before that, how do you want to learn? The best way to learn is participatory teaching method. Passive learning you get from lectures, reading, and audiovisual, whereas discussion, practicing by doing, which is simulation-based training, the knowledge retention is up to 75%. So I always show this learning pyramid in most of my lectures to emphasize the active participation which I want from my students for learning and for better knowledge retention. We'll need the following hardware and the technology, and some of it will be provided as part of the course. This includes a laparoscopic box trainer, surgical instruments, and practice models, and you'll get access to QM Plus, which is our online learning platform. In addition, we'll ask you to sort of have your own personal WhatsApp and Zoom account, have your own laptop and internet access. Virtual reality headset for one of the modules, and mobile phone with apps. We'll be giving you information in the relevant modules about use of these technologies. So you will be given a separate induction on using QM Plus online platform. I won't discuss that. This is the Laparoscopy Box Trainer. with the full camera and practice model that will be given to each one of you. You can train in your own time, at your own pace. And apart from campus-based education, when you're home, you can even get in touch with me online by sharing your screen as we are doing on Zoom. And I can give you live feedback, or you can send me a recorded video for video feedback on your surgical skills, training, and performance. There's also mobile phone-based learning for gaining cognitive confidence, which is using the Touch Surgery app. And we have a virtual reality simulator for doing cholecystectomy. This is only available to the campus-based students. For the distant learning students, they can get to experience this simulator when they come for their optional summer school. This simulator is state-of-the-art virtual reality simulator that lets you do a full procedure from start to finish of cholecystectomy. That is part of this course. We'll have online contact on various online apps, using various online apps and technology. One of the module, which is the cholecystectomy module, I have recorded the entire operation using special digital hardware in the live operating theater. Have translated that into a 360-degree viewing module that you will have access to as part of the course. All you'll need is a VR headset and your mobile phone with the downloaded app. These headsets are very cheap and readily available on Amazon or eBay for 10 to 15 pounds. Let's talk a little bit about the structure of the course. As I said, whether it's campus-based or online, we expect you to have approximately 8 to 10 hours of studies per week, plus additional self-directed studies for the full-time course. The assessment is in the form of simulator-based assessment, along with continuous assessment or in-course assessments with MCQs or SAQ and presentation, and video quiz with dissertation viva. Here's breakdown of the different modules in this MSc in Laparoscopic Surgery and Surgical Skills. First module that we normally start is the core skills in laparoscopic surgery, which is basic laparoscopic skills for acquiring eye-hand coordination and depth perception. The next is laparoscopic suturing skill. This is sort of advanced laparoscopic skills, which is divided into two, lap suture 1 and lap suture 2. The third module is open surgical skill, which is focused around developing your technical skills for bowel anastomosis. This is again divided into two parts, which is basic surgical skills and advanced surgical skills for bowel anastomosis, including microsurgical anastomosis. The fourth module is full cholecystectomy module, which is the procedure skills. And then you have the research element of the course, which is research method teaching and your dissertation. Briefly about the MSc timetable. This is just an indicative broad timetable. For the full-time students, the course usually starts in end of September, October. So in the first month, we will cover lap skill. And in the following months till March, you see each of the module being covered as we go through. The research method and the thesis will run in parallel to the practical skills training. So all the modules that you see, which are lap suture, lap skill, open surgical skills, procedure skills, are all your practical skills module. Then you have your research method and thesis that goes alongside. There are 3 blocks of examination period. One is in January, where the lap skill and lap suture skill modules which were completed in the previous months will be assessed by MCQ, SAQ, and live practical skills assessment. Similarly, in the second semester, once you finish the open surgical skills and procedure skills, in April to around the Easter time, you'll have your exams, which again is similar to your first semester exam including MCQ, SAQ, and skills. Finally, you will have a few months to finish your dissertation, and sometime in August, the date will be announced for your thesis presentation viva. That takes you through the entire course curriculum for the 1-year full-time program. This is an indicative weekly timetable. Unfortunately, in the first semester, we don't have campus-based education because of the COVID-19 crisis, and hence the clinical attachment of the observership, which is offered to the MSc student, may not be available this year. So in terms of your MSc teaching, direct teaching, whether it's campus-based or online, is usually 1.5 days, which is Tuesday all day and Friday morning time. A detailed teaching timetable will be provided. The remaining days, you are free to do either an observership once the campus and the hospitals open up, or it's sort of a self-directed study period and practice using your take-home box trainer. So in conclusion, the combination of research and surgical skills training which offered in this MSc course is a unique opportunity for trainees to acquire surgical skills, to accelerate the surgical training for building confidence in clinical practice, and understand research methodology for scientific research in your career throughout the surgical career. Thank you very much. Here's my email address. If you'd like to contact me, or if you have any questions related to the course, please don't hesitate to get in touch.